We've got some pretty important DeAndre Hopkins buzz to touch on during today's show. But before we jump into all of that, I want to get you guys updated on our July sub battle with our Texans channel. And it's pretty convenient because our Texans host is in the studio with us right now. So not only is he going to see us pull away from his little Texans channel, but we're also going to remind him about the best player on offense Houston let get away. Yeah, is now coming to one of their biggest rivals, the Tennessee Titans. On today's show, we've got a pretty intriguing update from the Sin City involving the Tennessee Titans and DeAndre Hopkins, so we're going to touch on that. And at the end of the show, we're going to look at ESPN's running back rankings. But let's start things off with the update on DeAndre Hopkins because Vegas always knows, right? And Vegas now has the Tennessee Titans as the overwhelming favorite to land DeAndre Hopkins at minus 300. That means if you were to bet $300, you would only get $100 on your return. So pretty big favorites for Nashville to end up signing DeAndre Hopkins. In fact, they made a huge jump in about 24 hours or so. They went from plus 500 to minus 300. So this is the Brian Windhorst, what does Vegas know meme, right? Why does Vegas react like this going from plus 500 to minus 300? They are way ahead of the New England Patriots now, who are at plus 425. The Bills and the Chiefs are pretty firmly behind them at plus 800, and I don't even know how the Lions cracked the top five. But the Tennessee Titans at minus 300 scream, okay, DeAndre Hopkins, you are officially a Tennessee Titan. I'm going to pump the brakes a little bit on that, and I'm not going to overreact to Vegas odds because I'm old enough to remember when Will Levis was a lock to go top 10 in the NFL draft, and Vegas told us he's going to be an Indianapolis Colt. He's not going to get out of the top 10, and Tennessee got him in day 2 of the NFL draft. So just because Vegas says something's going to happen doesn't always mean that's going to be the case. I think they are much better at predicting game lines and whatnot, but when it comes to next player odds, usually they overreact to Reddit threads or something like that, and they overreact to one word, and they switch the lines, and they move them drastically just so they don't get burned or something like that. So just because you see Vegas has him at minus 300 does not mean he's an absolute lock to become a Tennessee Titan, but it does make you wonder, what did Vegas hear, right? What did the odds makers hear? Did they get tipped off from Schefter's burner or something? I don't know. But Vegas clearly caught wind of something that signaled there was a drastic change in the last 24 hours. And who knows? Maybe the next time I am talking to you guys, DeAndre Hopkins is officially a Tennessee Titan. And I hope so for this team's sake, because when you look at the rest of the wide receiver room, there's not a lot of experience. And if Treylon Burks makes that big leap in year 2, a lot of these issues will settle down. But if Burks does not vastly improve from his rookie season, I'm not banking on Nick Westbrook-Ikhine or Kyle Phillips to carry the lion's share in the receiving department. Now, the question I have is, are the Titans only selling out for DeAndre Hopkins, or are they going to look for another wide receiver if they do not land Hopkins? Right? If the Chiefs end up playing ball and that's a match made in heaven because Hopkins gets his money and he gets to go to a contending team, will Tennessee look to another wide receiver, or is it Hopkins or bust for them? We talked about some other free agent wide receivers on a previous episode. Kenny Galladay's still out there. The issue with Kenny Galladay is he's not good at tackle football. He sucks. Byron Pringle was good for the Chiefs for one season, so-so for the Bears last year. Jarvis Landry would be an awesome move for the locker room, but he was not very productive in his final season in New Orleans, his only season in New Orleans. N'Keal Harry's a former first-round pick, so buy low, sell high. And then Sammy Watkins is the vet of the group right there. He's got a Super Bowl ring. He has lived out of a suitcase. He has bounced around the NFL, but I don't know if he's got much left in the tank. So when it comes to DeAndre Hopkins coming to the Music City, what's your confidence level that Braves and Rand are going to get this done? Scale it 1 to 10. I'm really interested to see where people are at for this one because personally, I'm at a solid 6.2. I'm over that 50% threshold because it does seem like a two-horse race between the Titans and the Patriots. And if Hopkins really sits down and thinks, do I want to go to an awesome state like Tennessee, no income tax, or do I want to go play offense for Butch and Bill O'Brien in New England and freeze my ass off? I'm going to go with Ryan Tannehill and the Tennessee Titans. Now, if unfortunately the Bills, the Chiefs, or another big contender swoop in and steal Hopkins from Titans fans, what about Corey Davis, a guy we talked about on our previous episode? It definitely seems like his time in New Jersey, New York, whatever, is coming to a close. He's got way too big of a cap hit to be this team's third or fourth wide receiver. So the Jets might end up just outright releasing him like the Cardinals did, or they could look for a trade. And if it is a trade, I am sure the Tennessee Titans will pick up the phone because Corey Davis, former top 5 pick for Tennessee, never really flourished down with the Titans. His last season, a good time to have a best season of his career in a contract year, 984 yards and 5 touchdowns. But he never quite took off. He never got over that 1,000-yard mark. He never established himself as a clear-cut wide receiver one. And I thought he might do that when he went to the Jets. But with New York, you can see his stats with the Jets. He never was, A, available much. His first year, he was limited to 9 games. And B, had good, consistent quarterback play, right? He was trying to catch passes from Zach Wilson, while Zach Wilson was trying to throw to the other team more often than not. So his career high with the Jets, 536 yards this past season through 13 games. He only amassed 6 touchdowns in 2 seasons. He never lived up to that 3-year contract he got from the Jets, but he was never really available, and unfortunately, he never had good quarterback play. So I'm all for a cheap reunion with Corey Davis. I think Davis coming back would be a big upgrade in the wide receiver room. And also, I don't think many fans have a bad taste in their mouth about Corey Davis. Did he ever live up to the hype? Not really, no. Is he better than Nick Westbrook and Keenan and Kyle Phillips? Sorry, guys. Yeah, I'll take Corey Davis over them. So who is your top backup option for DeAndre Hopkins? Could it be Kenny Golladay? Hope not. There's not a lot of good wide receivers out there anymore. I mean, it's July. We're knocking on the door of August 1st. There's not going to be a big name outside of DeAndre Hopkins that's going to come in and save the season, but Corey Davis is the best shot at doing so. We're going to look at ESPN's running back rankings in just a moment, but our hat t-shirt deal is still on sale. So if you're looking to replenish your Titans wardrobe, pick up a new hat, go to chatsports.com/10combo. I put that link in the comments and the description. It also makes for a great gift, and here's why. If, let's say, you have 2 birthdays coming up, a brother and a friend, you can get the t-shirt hat combo, and they won't know the difference if one of them gets a hat and one of them gets a t-shirt. Two birds, one stone. So get this set today. It's in the comments and the description of today's video. Oh boy, ESPN. Apparently they laid off the wrong people because Derrick Henry finished 5th for their running back rankings. Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, and Saquon Barkley finish ahead of Tractor Cito. Jonathan Taylor comes in at 6. Alvin Kamara comes in at 7. Dalvin Cook, a free agent, is in the top 10 at 8. Tony Pollard and Austin Ekeler round out their top 10 running back rankings. So this is not solely on ESPN because they poll NFL execs, but I'm going to make them my boogeyman here because 5th? Come on. If you get 5th back from your votes and your polls, you got to send it back out again. That's just an unacceptable spot for Derrick Henry to be. I know that Father Time is relatively undefeated. The only time Father Time has really lost was to Tom Brady and maybe Derrick Henry now, because look at Derrick Henry. Yes, he is approaching 30 years old, but he put up 1,500 yards and 13 touchdowns last year. I mean, you're telling me there are 4 running backs that teams would rather have more than a 1,500-yard, 13-touchdown guy last season? The average has dipped the last 2 seasons, and he gets force-fed the football a lot, and he's below 5 yards a carry for 2 straight seasons. But betting against Derrick Henry is never a good idea. I always say betting against Nick Saban's not a good idea unless it's the 3rd Saturday in October in 2022, but also a bad idea to bet against the King. I am not ranking him number 5. I know the NFL execs are a little weary of running backs getting closer to 30 years old, but Henry's the exception. He never shows a sign of slowing down. I curse myself every year in my fantasy football draft because every single year I say, this is the year Derrick Henry slows down, and I pass on him. And every year I don't win my fantasy football league because I passed on Derrick Henry. So I think Derrick Henry is still a top 3 running back, let alone a top 5 running back. I'd rather have Derrick Henry than Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley for 2023. If we're talking the next 5 years, that could be a different conversation, but this is not about the next 5 years. And if we're talking about this upcoming season alone, give me Derrick Henry over those 2 guys, guaranteed. Nick Chubb, McCaffrey, and Henry, you can splice them up however you want, top 3. You can make good arguments for all 3 guys, but give me Henry over Jacobs and Barkley. That's going to do it for us on today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. Really appreciate everyone taking time out of their Friday. Enjoy your weekend, and we'll see you guys later.